So we return back to third parties and independents. So already, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are working together to prevent RFK Jr., Jill Stein, Dr. Cornel West, and Chase Oliver, and anyone else that's running as an independent from being on the ballot here in Illinois. That's right. It's an Illinois story. Illinois up to no good, and the Democrats and Republicans are working together. Everybody, stop everything. Democrats and Republicans working together to prevent you, the American people, from actually having a choice. And that's right, Democratic voters and Republican voters. The only reason why you are relevant is because the two-party system has made itself that way. The only reason why you're relevant is because you're participating in a system that doesn't care about you. But at 50% of the U.S. population identifies itself as independent. Wake up. You're being used. But I want to play this video here first of Dr. Jill Stein talking about what's happening in Illinois. Now, I do wish her and her campaign all the best. And here's my criticism of third-party candidates. Yes, we need them. I do believe that they should be doing much more. But to the Greens, to the Libertarians, to anybody, you guys should have been ready for this. And you should have been prepping and planning for this after the 2020 election. You know, just don't do it just from the hip. I mean, maybe I'm setting a standard too high, but much is being left to desire from the third parties. So let me go ahead and play this video from Dr. Jill Stein. Let's go ahead and play it.
We're in some very serious trouble right now, and it's accelerating rapidly. The empire is doubling down with all they've got, pulling out all the stops. And the latest deal is that they are now trying to tie up the matching funds. These are the public money that we earned through those donations of up to $250 per person. All that gets matched through this public funding system. And first they said, okay, your money's coming. And then they said, oh, but looks like we can't give it to you. $270,000 that we expected to have a first payment on last week. Now this is being held up indefinitely. So the bottom line is, in order for us to keep going at this time when we're really breaking out, in order to keep the heat on to continue to challenge empire and oligarchy and the duopoly, we badly need crowdsourcing right now. That $270,000 that we hoped we were going to get in public funding to both pay our debts and to keep the ballot drives going. People are more desperate than ever for alternatives to these two zombie candidates that we saw, you know, argue with each other about who had the better golf handicap, I guess. You know.
By the way, I do want to acknowledge this. Flex Diggs, Illinois is an absolute train wreck. I can't. Hey, yeah, it is. It is. Seriously, we're the most corrupt state in the union. I think there's some states that could probably come after our title, but I think we're number one, you know, because Chicago is the most corrupt city in America. We're number two when you add in Washington, D.C. But the problem in Illinois is that it's extremely draconian towards third parties and independents. The system itself, anybody who says that this is a liberal communist utopia, it's not. It is a corporatist nightmare. The Democratic Party, the Democratic machine, especially for Chicago politics, you could be a Republican and get an office seat. The only thing is you have to change your R to a D, like wink. Okay, you're a Democrat, wink, but listen to the machine. The machine is purposely has people who are just corrupt to the core, the worst of the worst. The day the machine finally ends is the day when Chicago's free. Curse upon old man Daley.
You know, they should be in retirement playing golf together, if only. The empire is trying to pull the rug out from under us by tying up the matching funds that we've earned. So please, please, please go to jillstein2024.com. Celebrate Independence Day by helping us be independent of the duopoly of empire and oligarchy. Thank you all so very much. Take care.
Now, the thing is, you know, Jill Stein and the Green Party did fail to get themselves on the ballot in New York State, to which I have to say, towards third parties and independents, and I've gotten some pushback. But you guys should have been doing this years in advance. At least at the end of 2020. You're really setting up who will be your nominee, the infrastructure, the groundwork, and actually doing things. But hey, everybody runs their party differently. But if you're running as an independent, you would think you would understand the game by now. But here's what's happening here. This is an article from World Social's website, too. This came out 10 hours ago. Democrats and Republicans unite to block RFK Jr., Jill Stein, and other third parties from the Illinois ballot. And already they're launching fireworks in my neighborhood. What's going on here? This past Monday in Illinois, Republican and Democratic linked operatives filed last-minute objectors petitions to the Illinois State Board of Elections in an attempt to block third-party and independent candidates from appearing on the presidential ballot this November. If the challenges are successful, some 9.1 million registered voters in Illinois will only have the choice of voting for the embattled warmongering President Joe Biden or fascistic would-be dictator Donald Trump for U.S. president this November. Which, if that's the case, I'm not voting Democrat or Republican. I'm going to leave everything blank. I'll just vote for the citizen ballot initiatives, go home, and make myself my steak dinner. That's what I'm going to do. But you got to vote for somebody. No, I don't. No, I do not. I don't have to do anything. I could do whatever I want, as should all of you. The joint objections underscore that neither the Democrat nor Republican Party want to give workers and youth disgusted with unending war, inequality, and political domination of the financial oligarchy any choice this November. The ongoing bipartisan assault on the right of third-party and independent candidates to appear on the ballot exemplifies the disdain the two big business parties have for democratic rights of the entire population. The challenge against far-right independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Green Party nominee Dr. Jill Stein, was filed by operatives with Clear Choice Action. The Biden Line Group has already filed numerous challenges against third parties in multiple states, including against Cornel West in North Carolina, RFK Jr. in New York. The West campaign did not file a petition to appear on the Illinois ballot. Which once again shows how much of a clown Dr. Cornel West was. I'm sorry I interviewed him. Can't believe I did that. You're not even showing the Illinois ballot. Then what's the point? Does he even have a real clear idea what he's doing? Anyways, that's Dr. Cornel West. What a joke. What an absolute joke. In its objection filed in New York last month, Clear Choice aligned at some 102,000 out of more than 146 signatures submitted by the Kennedy campaign were invalid. New York state law requires independent third-party candidates to submit 45,000 signatures. So wait a minute. Stop. So conveniently, out of the blue, only 102,000 out of 146 signatures were invalid. So that means doing the mathematics. Oh, they only had 44,000 legitimate signatures. That means the 45, they didn't get there. In Illinois, in its Illinois challenge against RFK Jr., Clear Choice is seeking to strike almost 66,487 signatures out of 85,509 signatures the campaign submitted to the Secretary of State, leaving the RFK Jr. with only 19,022 valid signatures. In order to achieve ballot access in the state, presidential candidates this year are required to gather and submit a minimum of 25,000 signatures from registered voters. Guess what? For Democrats and Republicans, they don't need that number. For third parties and independents, that number has to be much higher. If anything, if you are a third party candidate and you are running in Illinois, you need to get at least maybe 100,000 to maybe 200,000 signatures just to be safe. Just to be safe. But even then, that's still not enough. And I have to say, in the 2022 midterm election cycle, the Illinois Libertarian Party really impressed me because they were able to get all of the ballot access that they needed to get on. That was an incredible feat. I've never seen anything like that before. In their Illinois objectors petition, operatives for Clear Choice alleged that thousands of signatures submitted by the Kennedy campaign were forged, incomplete, or otherwise incorrect. Yeah, incorrect. You don't say. The group alleged that the campaign itself had found more than 22% of signatures gathered were invalid. Really? They were? The petition also claims that Kennedy put his residence, a home in Cotulla, New York, when he actually lives in Los Angeles, California. The Illinois State Board of Elections will hold a hearing on July 9th at which representatives from Clear Choice and the Kennedy campaign will present their evidence. After that, the board will give full report on its findings on August 23rd. In challenging the Stein petition, Clear Choice lawyers claimed the petition only included 9,000 valid signatures, well below the 25,000 threshold. The objection also targeted Green Party Vice Presidential candidate Samson Cabino. I apologize if I got the name wrong. Seeking to circumvent the costly and burdensome petition process on Wednesday, the Kennedy campaign announced that it struck a deal with the Colorado Libertarian Party to appear on its ballot line, supplanting Chase Oliver as the nominee of the party. Oof, Chase. That's terrible. Appealing in a rapturous business interest in an interview with the Denver Post, Hannah Goodman, chair of the Libertarian Party of Colorado, said Kennedy took the group's Liberty Pledge prior to accepting the nomination. The Post noted Kennedy had worked to embrace the party's principles related to economic privatization. While Democratic-aligned groups are seeking to block any left-wing or independent challenge to the Democratic nominee, Republican operatives are likewise filing objections to block right-wing challengers to their candidates. The same day, Clear Choice operatives targeted RFK Jr. and Stein, a paid Republican staffer, filed objectors petition against ultra-right Constitutional Party candidate Randall Terry and Chase Oliver of the Libertarian Party. The Chicago Tribune reported that the challenges against Terry and Oliver were filed by Jeff Fiddler. The Tribune noted that Fiddler has been paid staffer at the Chicago Republican Party. The reporter reached out to the Kennedy and West campaigns for comment on the Democratic Republican Party's gang up on third parties. As of this writing, none have responded. So let's talk about this. They want to prevent you having a choice. They want to prevent you from having the opportunity of voting in your own primary, or either that voting however you want. And now the Democrats and Republicans are just out there in the open. Tell me again, Democratic and Republican operatives, how is this supposed to work? Because we here at Heartlands Media have been talking about the censorship of third parties, the suppression of third parties. You're not gaining any ground. You're losing ground. And all I could do is laugh at you. Because I know one thing. If I don't see independents or third parties on my ballot when I vote, the Democratic Party and Republican Party candidates are going to have this one thing in common. I am not voting for any one of you. I'll vote for the ballot initiative. I'm going to go home. I'm going to cook my steak. I'm going to smoke a bowl, drink some good wine, have a shot of whiskey, and then find out who becomes president, go to sleep, and tomorrow's a whole new day. But I'll sleep comfortably with a clear conscience, knowing that neither the Democratic Party or Republican Party will get my vote. Because it's not going to work, Democrats or Republicans. People are tired of your shite.